What was the first thing that really got you interested in music?
I think the feeling in my body
Okay.
when I heard music for the first time when I was young. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, the way it makes me feel. It's so good.
And in what way? Did your parents play a lot of music around the house, or did you?
Yeah, my sister played the saxophone when she was young for like 6 or 7 years, I guess. And I started playing music when I was, I guess, like 7 or 8. When I was 8, I started playing the trumpet. Yeah, man, like, I mean, music is everything.
Did you like the trumpet immediately?
Yeah. When I heard it for the first time, I was like, probably like 8 years old. And it was just like, what is this instrument? I gotta play it.
And so did you play with your sister as well, and then kind of?
Just a bit, yeah.
Okay. And then how do you proceed from there? Because 7, 8 is quite young.
Yeah.
But you went to school for music. So did you already know at 8 that you wanted to pursue music?
I knew that I loved it. When I was 13, I started playing the guitar and I started writing songs. And I was at 14 or 15, I started producing and recording my stuff. Yeah, I think around like 13, 14, when I started singing and playing guitar, I was like, that's what I want to do, you know? Like, I want to focus on music. And I did it until I was 18. And then I joined the Navy for 3 years and I stopped making music. And I think that I just like, I needed a break for a second, just to see, because, you know, sometimes in life, like, you get stuck in I don't know, in your work, in a routine or whatever, like, and I used to play music all my life, and then like for 10 years, very, very intense, and then I said, like, I need a break for a second, and if after 3 years in the Navy I still want to do it, that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
Did you miss it?
Hmm?
Did you miss music those 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, like, I played the guitar a few times, the trumpet a few times, I wrote a few songs, but it wasn't intense as before. And when I finished my service, I was like, yeah, I gotta do it.
But then you do something quite drastic in a sense. You move away for a year.
Yeah.
So, and then, well, you've talked about this before, it's quite isolated, so no Wi-Fi or anything. And I've read that it was quite a lonely thing as well, to be by yourself. Why was it so important to do this?
I think the most important thing is to have no distractions, you know, at all. And I just wanted to focus on music, just spend this year alone and me and the computer and write songs, you know, focus on that.
What did you discover about yourself in that year?
Everything, literally everything. I was reborn after this year in Thailand.
Okay.
Because I think that, like, people avoid being alone with themselves, and they always try to, you know, be busy, like at work or friends. They never be like, they never want to be alone, because like they're scared to think about, like, what do they really love, what they want to do in their lives and everything. All the tough questions, you know. And that's what I had, like, for a year, all the tough questions, and I learned a lot.
Can you share one of those kind of existential questions that you had that you kind of figured out, or maybe got?
I think, like, in every aspect.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's kind of like a survival mode, like living in a place where you don't speak the local language, nobody speaks English, or I don't know, really, like, few people speak English. You know, like making your own food and doing your own laundry and everything, you know, like being independent, like at the age of like 21, moving out to a place where nobody knows who are you and speak your language.
And then did you find kind of, because like you say, you've played music, worked on music quite intensely for 10 years, then you take a break and then you go on this journey. What did you figure out musically, kind of where you wanted to go, and was there kind of a turning point for you?
Yeah, I think the key for me was not listening to music at all, you know. And when I heard music, I don't know, I went to a party and there was like techno music, so I came back home and I said, like, I want to know how to make techno. So for 24 hours straight, I would just sit on the computer and do everything I can in order to make and learn how to make techno. And I think that because I love pretty much like every genre of music. And when people ask me what's my genre of music, I don't have a genre. I'm like genreless, you know. And I'm a mix of everything, and I think that's how I found my sound. Not listening to music at all.
Just listening to yourself.
Exactly. Like I created my own radio station.
But I'm trying to imagine, because what was it like then being by yourself? Because, well, like I say, you've said that it was quite lonely, but was it a fun thing? Did you enjoy kind of?
I
Or
love
was it
it.
more a mental?
Yeah, I mean, like there are tough times, and now I'm living alone, like me and my dogs, so I'm not really lonely.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I think it's so important because you learn so much about what you want in life and how do you want to live your life, and what are your limits, which is important.
This might be a weird question, but what do you think your limits are, and then do you think about what your limits are in terms of this kind of whole music thing?
Yeah, I think that like especially like in interviews and like when I write music, I write my songs like sometimes in a general way that like each person can take it to his own story. And when people ask me about the stories behind the music, sometimes I give details and sometimes no. Like I mean like my privacy is key for me.
Okay.
Like I keep my profile very low in Tel Aviv. I'm not going out a lot. I'm spending a lot of time in my house, like with my dogs, my friends.
Yeah, I heard that you didn't want to become quote unquote a celebrity in the
Yeah.
sense that you wanted that very normal.
Exactly. I want to feel like Clark Kent in Israel, and then when I go, I'm Superman.
But so anywhere else is fine.
Yeah, because I'm a tourist. You know, it's not my
Fair
home.
enough.
You know.
But yeah, why is that? Is it just because you want to have a normal life with the people you love?
Exactly.
Okay. But so I find that interesting, the Clark Kent to the Superman. So do you think there's a difference between you as a kind of a normal person and the musician?
I don't think there's a difference in the personality. I think it's more about the energy that I bring. Like I'm a very calm person until I'm on stage.
Okay.
Then when I'm on stage, I'm like crazy. But the rest, I'm pretty calm.
Was this from an early age, kind of that music allowed you to tap into kind of a part of yourself that otherwise wouldn't come out?
I don't know. I think that just like when I was in Bangkok, I realized so many things about like how I want to build my career and how I want to have like, I wouldn't say like two personalities, but like kind of, you know, to have the public personality, which is Dennis Lloyd, and the private one that only my inner circle knows, you know?
And then I think you come back from that trip, and all of a sudden there's all this attention going on and all this. What was that like? Because you've isolated yourself for a while, and all of a sudden all these people want to talk to you and they want something from you. So
it's so weird, man. Like I'm still getting used to it. But I think it's like just a switch in the brain that you gotta switch and realize that like, okay, this is my life now. But then when I go back, I'm like back to my private corner next to the sea. That's all I need.
And in your own time, is songwriting something that's very, very, I imagine it's very personal to you because you do everything yourself, but is it something you kind of have to isolate yourself to do in order to write songs?
What do you mean isolate? Like I don't need to be disconnected again, like from Wi-Fi or stuff like that. Like I can manage between the two.
Well, for instance, do you write while you're traveling or while you're doing these kinds of things?
Sometimes I'm just like, take a guitar and write a song. Like on the road, can be on the bus, can be like just beat on the plane. I just take my computer out and make a beat. It happens everywhere. Like my phone is full of like recordings of like just me humming some songs and ideas.
And I want to get into the production side a little bit as well, because, and especially early on, you mentioned 13, 14, that's when kind of all that came together. So what was that like delving into and kind of discovering all these possibilities that you have on the computer and then the multiple instruments that you play and how to incorporate them into what you're doing?
I think that like producing is one of my favorite things in music. I tried working like with a few singers like a while ago, you know, and I saw how like I can fit my production into their songs and their music and everything, and I love it. And I think that it's so important to know these kind of things, like how to produce your music, how to record your music. Like it's not so difficult. You don't need like a fancy studio, $1 million studio in order to make music. You just need a computer and a microphone. That's it. Literally, that's it.
Because is it true that the first microphone that you had was a really...
It was a
shitty
fucking USB microphone, man. Like nothing. Now I paid like $100 for it, like in Vegas, something like that.
Why is it for you? Why do you like doing everything yourself? Why is it kind of that thing that...
There are a few reasons. First, I don't like to be told what to do.
That's a good reason.
I mean, like, to be honest, sorry, George, man. But honestly, I love being independent. And the third reason probably is like the feeling that you have, that I have when I finish a song, knowing that I'm the only person in the world that knows this song, is like crazy.
Okay.
When I heard Nevermind for the first time, after I made a remix for it, I was like...
So you knew it's...
I had a feeling. I wouldn't say knew because like knowing is arrogant. I had no fucking idea, but like I had a good feeling about the song. And I was the only one in the world who ever heard it when I made it. It's crazy.
So is that kind of the standard that you set for yourself? If you get that feeling, then that must be good enough to put out?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that like I write a lot of songs, and in Bangkok I wrote like probably 30, 40 songs. Some of them I like more, some of them I don't like at all now. But yeah, I think it's just like a journey, like songwriting.
What do you get out of songwriting?
It's like when people write a diary, dear diary. Today I was like, so that's for me. That it's like therapist.
Because when I think a bunch of the songs, including Nevermind, were about this specific relationship you had in Bangkok. So did it help you kind of figure out what your feelings or thoughts were about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that like eventually I write only when I feel, you know, something. And if I don't feel anything, I don't write. Okay. Because like, yeah. I mean, like, it makes sense.
So you have to live life in order to write.
Exactly.
songs.
So then my life is more like challenging, and it's like sometimes it's like a roller coaster. But now I think I'm in a more balanced place.
But I always find this interesting about songwriters. So when you're experiencing certain things like a breakup or whatever, do you kind of in the back of your mind already go, this could be it?
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's horrible, bro. Thinking about like doing something because of the music and the inspiration it's gonna bring. It's horrible. It's not a good way to live your life.
No, because I was gonna say that can kind of get mixed, I suppose. But well, to take an example, the Exident EP then is kind of maybe a little bit more harsher reaction to kind of. Is it the same relationship that you're talking about? So that's a little bit more with GFY and those kind of songs. So can you take me to kind of that time space that you wrote those songs?
So the 4 songs of Exident were all written like in the post-breakup time. I would say like 6 to 8 months. That like I was angry, I was depressed, I was sad, I was confused, all of them, you know. And I think if you listen to Exident, you need to listen to it like to the 4 songs and the intro all together, because then like in the last song, Runaway, when you have the last note and the echo there. And it's just like it leaves you. Like I remember when I invited some friends to listen to Exident before I even released it, and they were like, the silence after you hear the last song is just like priceless. You know, it's my favorite moment.
And for you then, because having to perform these songs and you hear them obviously all the time, then what is it like? Do you go through the same emotions? Does it bring you back?
I think I had like 1 or 2 concerts where I got like really emotional, like singing these songs, Exident and even other songs. But most of the time I'm focusing, you know, like I'm focusing on remembering the lyrics, singing the right notes, playing the trumpet, playing the guitar, dancing, having fun with the crowd. So I'm trying to not be connected. There are some songs like there's the song Leftovers that every concert on the road I dedicate it to my dogs. Okay. I miss them so much when I'm on the road. And every time I'm like, I get really emotional during this song. But yeah.
Yeah, I saw the pictures with you and your dog, so you seem to be a great dog lover, so yeah, I can imagine. I wrote one line down from Leftovers. I don't know if you, because you kind of mentioned it already, but there's a line, I'm a mess and I will always be. Do you want to stick around and see me drown. So that kind of period, what was that like? Is it kind of?
I wrote it in Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was just like a morning when I realized that like I thought that there was a period of time where I was very organized. I was also dating someone, and my life seemed to be like on track. And then when she left, she was just traveling, and when she left, I realized that like it's not me. It was just her like being so clean and so organized, and I was like a mess. And my life was a mess. My house was a mess. I didn't eat. Yeah, and that's why I realized like I'm a mess, and I will always be like that.
Okay, that's it. Well, why always? Why is that something? Because, like you say, your life is quite different, I suppose, now. So do you still think it's in a way a mess?
Yeah, but mess is not necessarily bad.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Because that's, I suppose, motivational as well.
Yeah.
Now we talked about kind of the reaction you kind of discovered when you got back. Were you surprised how spread out it was? How it wasn't just people from Israel, or it was people from anywhere that kind of found your music?
Yeah, I mean, like the feeling of it. Still, I'm overwhelmed by it. You know, it's just like it's wild to be all around the world and hear like my music playing, like, and getting like messages from, I don't know, India to Latin America to Middle East, wherever, you know. Sure. And it's very, I don't know, the feeling is just like, it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, and I saw something interesting as well, where people from certain countries that historically haven't gotten a good relation with Israel, they kind of figure out, oh, he's from Israel, yeah. But I like this guy. So do you feel kind of, and I don't want to make it too grandiose or anything, but do you feel like kind of a universal language in music?
Of course, I think like music is a universal language. Like it crosses borders and politics and everything. You know, it's above everything. All of these.
And when you said, well, it's a word, I don't want to use the word goal, but what do you want to do with your music in a sense? Not in the sense of a goal that you kind of try to accomplish, but something. Let me phrase it differently. How do you define success for your music?
When I was younger, I defined success, and actually I think the same now, but when I was younger, I was like, if I can make a living, basic living, from doing what I love, which is music and art, that's success for me, you know. It doesn't matter like where I live, how I live, but like if I can wake up in the morning knowing that I do something that I love, and I go to sleep and I do the same thing, I won. I'm successful. That's it. And then when you get to this point, everything is just like you just go with it. It doesn't matter like how big it gets.
Does it become more distracting in a sense, because now you have to sit with me and do an interview and those kind of things? Does that distract from the music, or is it all one thing?
I think it's a part of it, you know, like you release music, you want to reach as many people as you can. Interviews, like, you know, like you want people to know you, some parts of you. And yeah, I think it's all part of it. I like it.
What is the reaction you've had in America? Because, well, before the camera was on, we kind of talked about America a little bit. What are your thoughts on America and how your music is doing there?
Great. I was just touring there like this summer. It was great to see like how markets that I've been there like last year, how they grow, you know, from playing, I don't know, even if you take like Toronto or something like that, that last year I played like 300 people there, and then this year was like 1,400. And like places like Seattle, places like San Francisco. See how the audience grows, it's the best. And
now you're on tour here in Europe. Do you see us, or you're going to be on tour in Europe? So are you looking for the same kind of thing? Because I'm not sure, is this the first time you're touring Europe?
I did a tour last year. Okay. This is going to be like in November is my third tour ever.
Okay.
So yeah, like I expect madness in
Okay.
Europe. Madness, more than the US.
Because we were talking about how ticket sales are going quite well, and then how do you kind of explain that? How do you explain that people? It's difficult to say, I suppose, about your own music and what you're doing. But what are your thoughts on why people like what you do?
I think that it's just different. It's just like, I'm not trying to sound like anyone else. I'm just me, you know. And some people will like it, some people won't, and I'm fine with that. I think that like about the shows, just people know that there's an opportunity to see a show, and I don't know when it's gonna be like the next one, you know, like, because I'm traveling all around the world. I want to be everywhere. I want to be in Latin America. I want to be in Australia. I want to be in the US, in Europe, in Israel, wherever. So, and I'm just like one person, so I can be everywhere.
Sure.
And yeah, like places that I'm playing now, probably I'm not going to be again like in a year or so. So once you have an opportunity to watch the live show, do it. That's why fans come.
And for you as well, because like you mentioned, your taste in music is very eclectic. I read that you were influenced by Nirvana quite a bit early on, and you mentioned techno just now. And when you're working, do you listen to music a lot these days? Or do you try to avoid it?
I
as
mean,
well?
like when I work out, but it's more like just to get pumped,
Sure.
you know, by the music, by the beats. I'm less listening to music these days.
Just for the same reason that you don't want it to influence.
Yeah, yeah.
Final question then. When will the first debut album come out?
I don't like albums.
You're not going to do albums?
No, I don't listen to albums. Why should I make one?
Yeah, fair enough. But so
maybe one day, but I don't know. Like I don't remember when is the last album that I've heard. Like there is not like a Nirvana or Audioslave or something like that. But I don't know.
that's an interesting thing, because that's very much where music seems to be going these days. Social media and the way we consume music through streaming services. So is it more of a like you say, you don't really listen to albums anymore, people don't really listen to albums anymore, or is it more that you want to get it out as soon as possible?
It's not about like how soon it's gonna get out. It's more about like telling a story. Sometimes it takes like only one song, sometimes it takes like 4, 6, or maybe in a full album to tell a story. And that's what I'm about, you know, like just telling stories about my life.
Fair enough. All right, Dennis, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Pleasure.